How difficult was for you to make it a law and to push it through the parliament?
Without political will, for all the ideas that I had, all the drafting skills I had, pretty much every thought process I had thought through, but you don't get legislation passed through parliament unless there is strong political will. CSR is for the development of this nation. We are giving corporate an opportunity to participate in the inclusive development of the agenda of the nation. So if you are opposed to CSR, you're opposed to development.
There are a lot of corporates who fund businesses directly under CSR. Is that legally allowed?
As you know, there are only three ways that money can be spent. One, of course, is by themselves, and the other two are either a society or a trust. Or a Section 8 company.
Yeah.
There is no other way.
And if they fund, then what is it?
If they do, then the rule is that whatever is the profit, it must be plowed back into that project.
Now, another question that comes in, the DP theme, which is never on time and is always delayed. And how does this work in a PSU setting in terms of fund division?
In the original regulations, if I may call that, so whether it's Act or whether it's rules, there was never any concept or any idea that any department of government would ask enterprises to take decisions other than outside their own boards. It's a board-driven agenda, not a government-driven agenda. The law and the rules simply say that what the board wants to do, the CSR committee of the board formulates the budget, formulates the annual action plan, submits it to the board of the company, not to the DP.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of PRISM Partnering Resources for India in a Sustainable Movement podcast. Today, we have a personality who doesn't need any introduction. Anyone, whoever, wherever, in any part of India or maybe even globally, this person is known. Without being advertised, he's seen everywhere. He is lovingly known as the father of the CSR. I take immense pleasure in inviting Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee, who is the ex-DG of Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs and currently the chairman of BIS ECG. Dr. Saab, hearty welcome to you, and thank you for gracing us with your honorable presence.
Thank you, Jasmeer. What a pleasure to be with you. We go back a long time,
Yes.
and it really is such a wonderful occasion to meet up again
Yes.
and to participate with you at today's forum, let's say.
So I'm going to start shooting questions at you.
Please.
And the first question is, you are there before the birth was taken. Okay. So, and you have nurtured it, you have given, you've carried the baby, and you're sort of still back from the background, still carrying the child, because it's still nascent. I would like to call it a child. The CSR is still a child.
Sure.
And your journey before this became an act, and your journey of the last 10 years, please share us your life. How did you go about doing all this humongous work?
Well, the idea originated because I was then secretary in the Government of India with the Department of Public Enterprises. And you would recall, Jasmeer, public enterprises is basically about public good.
Yes.
So I would often ask, let's say, Steel Authority of India, that look, you're producing steel, right? And in some way it is public good because it contributes to the national economy and so on. But directly, you, let's say, have plants in Bhilai, Rourkela, very difficult areas of this country. What are you doing for the people there around you, to the society in which you are operating, many of whom you have displaced and whose lives and livelihoods you have changed? So, in the larger public good for community, what are you doing? And very often the answer would be, yes, we are doing this, we are doing that, and there was no real coordinated approach, no think-through approach. Much of what they were calling CSR was actually for the good of their own employees, and so on and so forth. And it occurred to me then, Jasmeer, that can we formalize this in some way? Very often I would ask them that what is not measured is usually not done, right?
True.
So tell me, if you are so-called CSR, how much did you spend last 2, 3 years? And the answer would be, let me just see, sir. I'll come back to you. I will ask X, Y, Z. And I would then say, all right, let's drill deeper. Who would you ask? Well, actually, can't say because no particular person does CSR, but I'll try to compile something for you.
You.
So that's how informal, how intermittent, and unorganized basically it was. So that's how the idea originates. And I thought to myself, let's talk to about, the Navaratnas and Maharatnas and ask them because they're in a position, they're large profitable companies. If they really wanted to do CSR on a regular, let's say, organized way, what would they do? So I pulled the CMDs in. I got key representatives from their organizations, formed a small committee, began what you might call purely a sort of, starting a talk process. And a lot of ideas then came to the table. Out of that, then, we wrote out guidelines for the public sector, which I got issued on the 1st of April 2010.
Yes.
And that's how, Jasmeer, the public sector has a 4-year start on the legislation itself.
Yes.
And India is truly blessed that we began CSR, as they say, charity begins at home. We began with public sector,
Sectors.
our own government organizations. That also gave me the moral handle when we were planning the legislation, that we've already done this in the public sector. Government companies are already doing it. So it's not as though we're preaching to you. We're asking you to join a movement that's already begun.
So that movement did begin. How difficult was for you to make it a law and to push it through the parliament? Or easy?
You've heard the expression whipping boy.
Yes, I have.
You've heard the expression dart board.
Yes, we have heard bullseye, all that.
That's exactly what I was.
Okay.
Because obviously the corporate sector did not take kindly to someone in some bhavan telling them what they should do on CSR. So there was a tremendous amount of opposition. And
Yes, I remember that.
but I must say that without political will, for all the ideas that I had, all the drafting skills I had, pretty much every thought process I had thought through, but you don't get legislation passed through parliament unless there is strong political will. And I have to say that I owe that to two people. One was Mr. Moily, who was then the Minister for Corporate Affairs,
Yes.
and his successor, Mr. Sachin Pai.
Biology, yes.
They were the ones who got everything together, created the political will. Mr. Pilot actually converted it to an understanding that CSR is for the development of this nation. We are giving corporates an opportunity to participate in the inclusive development of the agenda,
Yes.
of the nation. That's the agenda. So if you are opposed to CSR, you're opposed to development. And which member of parliament would want to be branded an anti-development person? And I still remember that day when he stood up, and there was almost about 8 hours of debate. There are 470 sections in the Companies Act of 2013. But more than 2 hours was spent on Section 135 alone. And across party lines, I was sitting there in the officers' gallery. It warmed the cockles of my heart to see that whereas many other provisions were subjected to scrutiny or criticism, on Section 135, unanimously, everyone said if there's one good section in this act, it is that section.
And then, was the Schedule 7 ready then, or you went about doing it after that?
Well, obviously the draft was ready. We knew the rules would come.
Yeah.
And so, although we then refined it a lot. Jasmeer, if you cast your mind back to 2011, 12, when we were actually drafting this thing,
Yes.
we had no SDGs.
Yeah.
What did we have? We had only the Millennium Development Goals. And a large part of Schedule 7 is based on the Millennium Development Goals. But as I keep telling you, our own CSR is our own Bharatiya model.
Yes.
For India, by India, in India.
India.
And we then Indianized
Yes.
much of that. And in Schedule 7, you will see that we have culture, we have heritage, we have a lot of natural resources protection, we have army welfare, army old age homes. We cover a lot of things apart from, education, skill development, women's poverty, all that is there.
Yeah.
But a lot of what we felt, rural sports, for example, and we said for India, what are the things we really need in CSR? So that's how Schedule 7 actually got prepared. And this is a question people often ask me. Dr. Chatterjee, you sort of, organized this whole model of CSR for us. And you have an act, you have rules. Where have you defined CSR? Usually any act starts with definitions.
Definition.
So what is your definition? And simply put, I didn't ever make a definition for the simple reason that definitions define, but they also limit.
Limit you.
They also become subject to interpretation or misinterpretation. Each word can be taken out of context and put into different things. So all we said is, if it is in Schedule 7 as an activity, it is CSR. If it is not, it is not.
So if you do recollect, we started this whole process with a proper conference in Mumbai, which you had supported to us, 2014. And there was this whole, sort of everybody was a little wondering, how will this roll out, if you remember the kind of questions that were coming to you. And you were very affirmative. This is how it will go. And there were NGOs and there were corporates, and I think they were a little shocked for you to be so affirmative, to say that this will happen and this is how you need to be ready. So in this 10 years, how have you seen that happen?
The initial hesitation, let's understand, what did I say in that? I mean, not I, but the drafting committee together. Of course, much of it was driven by me. The idea was 3 or 4 things we introduced newly, never thought of before anywhere on the planet about CSR. So it's useful now that we've spent 10 years. What were those 4 or 5 things that were so new? 1, we said that every decision on CSR must be taken in the boardroom of the corporate entity. It cannot be left to people down the ladder. And the best minds of the company are in the board. So if it's a board agenda, it will get done. If it is not, it won't happen. So that was what we call a Chatterjeeism, which is from backroom to board.
That's the name that we give the first session that we were there, and you were chairing that session.
Exactly. So from that day to this, it has endured.
Yeah.
Then we said, CSR must be done in project mode. So that there is a time, there is an allocation, there is monitoring, and there is what we called at that time evaluation. A third thing that we said was this whole idea of what we call POP, which is percentage of profit. Nobody had ever thought of this before. But in the guidelines, you will see in the public sector guidelines, I had prepared 4 segments. We started at 0.5% of profit to 3.5. We averaged it out and made it 2. So that's how the percentage came down to 2. And I said to myself, if we are making such a dispensation, here is a corporate, let's say on the 26th floor of a multi-storied building in Kolaba, Mumbai. Where or how would they do their CSR? Who in their company would do it? They can allocate resources, they can monitor, they can evaluate, but who would work with communities? We have 3.3 million NGOs in this country.
Yes.
They are the ones who live and work amidst communities. The corporates may refer to them as chappal and jholawalas, just as NGOs refer to corporates as munafa khoris.
Yes.
So there is this distance between them. But for our plan to succeed on the ground, we need them to come together as
and
partners, not as givers and takers. So, what I then classified as this trust deficit. How gradually can it close? If it does not, the whole scheme will fall apart. Now, for NGOs, this is a great opportunity.
Yes.
All said and done, they need funding, they want to do social work, but how will they do it? And so, I think in these 10 years, much of, and this again is another Chatterjeeism, by the way, what has happened is what I call the corporatization of NGOs and the NGOization of corporates. Corporates are now reaching out to NGOs and saying, all right, can you give us some ideas, some new innovations, some difficulties you're facing that we can now try and solve? Corporates are saying, you now know how we operate. We work on targets, we work on quarterly, we work on results. We want you to prepare your projects this way. We want your finance team to be strong. We want your HR to be strong, whatever. So this mutual exchange has, to me, benefited both sectors immensely. The conversation can't be one-sided. It has to be a dialogue. That understanding largely has come about. There's still some way to go.
Long way, yeah.
But at least that thinking has started in a big way.
So for NGOs to conduct their activities and have a team which is experienced and educated, the 5% benchmark on NGO admin cost is huge deterrent. Do you see that increasing to 10 to 15% in the coming years?
First of all, this concept of 5% is wrong. I use a very strong word here. It is not in the rules. It is not in the law. So where is this 5% coming from?
There are documents that are floating,
No,
which the corporates throw in NGOs' face.
They throw it and you throw it back.
Saying what?
Look at Ministry of Corporate Affairs, FAQs, August 2021.
Okay.
We drafted that with great care. And we explained that that 5% administration cost is not, repeat, not for NGOs. It is the administrative cost of the corporate itself.
Ah.
So if they throw you any document, please push it back into their faces. It is a complete misconception. And they're using it as a hobble stick.
Yes.
To coerce NGOs into reducing admin costs, which actually compromises the quality of the deliverables.
Absolutely.
So what are they doing? Let me repeat this very strongly. They're shooting themselves in the foot. Let me give you. HDFC does such a brilliant job.
Absolutely.
5% means nothing to them.
No.
It's about giving what the NGO needs.
Yes.
This, what shall I call it, penny-wise, pound-foolish approach of corporates is idiocy. I can't use a stronger term than that.
Yes. So, if an NGO sits down with a corporate and says, look at this, and you need to do this, and that 5% is yours.
Exactly.
And not mine.
Right.
So, the NGO can go and demand 15%.
No.
But will they give
what it wants? I don't. It's not 5%.
It's not 5%. Let's assume it's 10%.
Yeah. That at least.
Yeah.
To me, I've been in this segment for more than 10 years. If the admin costs are not at least 10, it seriously hampers.
It does.
As it is, the releases of tranches of money are delayed.
Very.
NGOs face difficulties in maintaining their HR, paying their salaries, doing their job. Not every NGO is, cash rich.
No.
And we want larger representation from those NGOs who are aspirational in nature. They will never climb the ladder if you're just, dishing out pennies at them. So there are many, many wonderful corporates who've gone beyond this
They
penny-wise
have.
thinking.
There are.
And of course, there are several who are still stuck in the groove.
Yeah.
And I think now with podcasts like this,
Yes.
where we are clarifying,
Yes.
and where the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has itself clarified,
Yes.
I think corporates need to take a second look at that.
I think they actually need to hear you now, loud and clear.
That's why I use strong words.
Yes, you have. Now, another question that comes in, the DP theme, which is never on time and is always delayed. And how does this work in a PSU setting in terms of fund division?
There are two aspects to this, Jasmeet, and I will deal with them one after the other.
Please.
In the original regulations, if I may call that, so whether it's act or whether it's rules, there was never any concept or any idea that any department of government would ask enterprises to take decisions other than outside their own boards. It's a board-driven agenda, not a government-driven agenda. The law and the rules simply say that what the board wants to do, the CSR committee of the board formulates the budget, formulates the annual action plan, submits it to the board of the company, not to the DP. It is for the board of the company then to authorize the expenditure and give a go-ahead.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Yes.
So, without any criticism aimed at anyone, the idea that DP should actually prioritize these themes may be a good intent. But even if that were so, the unconscionable delay in prioritizing, because it also necessitates companies, public sector companies, to expend 60% of their budget in those priority areas. Now let's take an example. Today, as we said, 1st of April,
Yes.
1st of October,
Yeah.
almost
6 months.
If those priorities are even now released, what will companies do? Think of the procedure just now.
Yes, yes, yes.
From the time that the priorities are received in the company, what will the company now do? It will formulate its action plan. Who in the company will do that? The CSR committee of the board. How often do boards meet?
Okay.
Once in a quarter, let's say.
Hopefully.
So they will make that annual action plan. They will submit it to the so-called committee of the board, not even the board. The committee will then put it up to the board. The board, in its wisdom, whenever they meet, they will approve it. If they have queries, oh my God,
Gone
back again. Ultimately think that when will these monies ever reach implementing agencies? So this is a concern, a serious worry communicated multiple times to DP. But what's happened, surprisingly, more and more ministries are actually saying that you cannot go on prioritizing health and education. Let's say sports ministry. Saying, come on, give us a chance.
Women and child. For
Women
widows.
and child, whatever. Defense forces.
Defense.
Now, because CSR has now become so big and so important, in one way it's good that more and more ministries actually want to dip into the CSR pool. But that process needs to start much earlier. It cannot start in April and all the ministries want to pool in and then government doesn't know what to do.
True.
So how much can you distribute the pie? It will become so small in slices you won't get anything. So that's a dilemma which government is working on. And I think with this experience, there will be a starting of this thought process much earlier in the coming years.
Okay. Now the balance 40%. Let's assume that they have to sort of keep the 60% for whatever theme that comes in, whenever it comes in. The 40%, can they do an expenditure on that? Or they have to wait for that whole year to happen?
No. course they can. Point is, even now in some of the public enterprises, they have begun that expenditure.
No, sir.
And except for one or two, like for example, Railways Ministry has told all the railway DP, do not start anything.
Okay.
Just don't move. Freeze your entire CSR. None of them have spent a single pie because everything has been put on hold by the ministry. Now, those who wanted to begin at least with what they have, even they've been stalled. So, sometimes the safety first approach begins, and that is detrimental to the CSR objective.
See, is it safety or is it band-aid?
Whatever it is.
It is.
But it really is a dampener.
In your wisdom and your experience, how would you like to encourage people? You are, I think, the most recognized face, and your words are wisdom and they are valued even today and in future. Is there any way that you can use your influence to make this happen?
Well, I can't say I have that kind of influence, but I know that I recently was in the Department of Public Enterprises. I was talking to the Joint Secretary, and I'm about to meet the Secretary of the Ministry also shortly. They are as concerned as me. And they were also saying that the learnings from all this, because they also know this, they're very intelligent people.
Yes.
And they're understanding that this is a serious drawback. So, can they send this so-called request for priority areas to be, released much earlier? So, I think from the coming year, they're already going to send these proposals from much earlier.
Oh, that's wonderful news. Thank you. Another technical question that comes in mind is there are these international corporates that work in India. And they insist, because they're operating in India, they're licensed in India, they do everything in India, but they still insist on having an FCRA certificate from NGOs. So how valid is for such companies to ask for an FCRA? Is it a law, or is it just because they need to ask and they want to sort of do that? How does this function?
Jasmeer, they say that the bureaucracy is the most safety first organization in the world. I spent 41 years there,
Okay.
and many said, Dr. Chatterjee, you spent 41 years protecting your backside. But when I get into the private sector, and I've been at it now since 2016, so about 9 years,
Yeah.
you realize that that's just a corporate instinct as well. Look, why would they need FCRA? They don't. But the idea is, if we do FCRA, we will get such a tremendous amount of due diligence that we won't have to bat an eyelid. If somebody ever asks us any question, we will point to the FCRA. What kind of mental attitude is this? We brought corporates into all of this nation building activity so that they would innovate.
Yes.
There would be a risk appetite. Projects could go wrong, it doesn't matter. It cannot be that 100% of projects will succeed. They can't. These are social projects. Even engineering projects go completely haywire.
It's human.
And what is the tolerance level in the board for failure?
0.
Why?
Everybody
because
wants.
somewhere, everyone. And that's why this overcorrection to the element of where no risks are going to be taken. But the law does not demand this. And I don't think all companies insist on that, but quite a large number of them do for all the wrong reasons.
Okay, this may be a little hot. Is it not illegal for them to ask this?
No.
No?
No. There's no law which says you can't. See, the corporate at the end of the day can ask you for anything.
True.
And if it is something that they want to impose as a conditionality, it's not legally wrong. It's just overcorrection on their part.
No, though this overcorrection, you're asking to an NGO who's going to work in India in some place to get you an FCRA for Indian money. The FCRA is very, very clear. It's only Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. So anything that comes out, even from maybe Sri Lanka or Nepal, for that matter, that money would be looked at as foreign contribution. When you are doing business, you're making profit in business, how do you ask FCRA certification?
Look, I would say it's wrong, but
Yes.
it's not illegal.
No, it's not
I mean,
illegal.
you can't start a process of law saying but it's wrong. Yeah, it's absolutely.
It's not ethical.
not
It is
rigorous, no.
not right, and I would say it falls in the gamut of how would
And
one put?
Jasmeer, particularly because what are we asking for? CSR 1 form.
Correct.
And from July of 2025,
Yeah.
NGOs which are now asking for fresh forms have to get even the data they submit validated by a CACS.
Yes.
Now, when all of this is already happening, surely now you don't need FCRA anymore
Yeah, but sir, this
for
is
Indian expenditure.
correct. And CSR 1 has been happening for the last 3 to 4 years.
Exactly. So that's already there. On top of that, I mean, how many layers would you want to sign? And the auditors, by the way, that way, neither ICSI nor ICAI have ever said that you need this.
True.
There's no direction from anybody. There is no rule. There is no regulation. There is no legal binding. And yet, that speaks of, what shall I say, a no-risk attitude, mindset.
Yeah.
Sad but true.
True, but the same organizations who ask for this then go into the village with communities and work with them. And I mean, I don't want to go on the other side of it, but we also do know that there is this whole how Ministry of Home Affairs is looking at cracking down on funding coming in, which is not conducive to the environment of India, which may create social unrest. So don't these people fear this?
No, see, FCRA laws have been tightened for
Very much.
precisely the reasons which you're mentioning. And there was a lot of foreign funding coming in, which, as you rightly said, created risk
Yes.
factors for the country.
Yes.
And it's in the national interest that all this was done.
Correct.
So I would say that such companies are sort of not misusing, but using it for the wrong reason.
Correct.
I think over time, with podcasts such as this, we will hope to change their mindset.
That's it. I know. I'm very. I'm sure that I'm going to send it out to all the link specifically of yours. Listen and hear and implement.
Right.
So when we move ahead from this, how do you look at the 5 years ahead? What you're meeting with people in the government spaces to sort of figure out ways and processes. What do you think would be the next 5-year पंचवर्षीय प्रोग्राम क्या रहेगा हमारे CSR का, जहाँ पे हम बोले कि ये पहले साल में ये, दूसरे साल में ये, उम्मीद करिए कि होगा.
देखो जसमीर, मैं तो यही कहना चाहूँगा कि अगर हम अगले 5 साल को देखें तो पहले तो हम जान लें कि ये 10 साल में हुआ क्या और
सही.
ट्रेंड्स हो क्या रही और इसमें से कैसी ये ट्रेंड्स हैं जो चलेंगी और कहाँ हमें डायरेक्शन करेक्शन की ज़रूरत. एक तो ये कि मॉनिटरिंग पे अब ज़्यादा ध्यान दिया जा रहा है.
हाँ जी.
क्लोज मॉनिटरिंग हैज़ बिकम वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. और इसका एक बड़ा कारण ये भी है कि AI के टूल्स हमें मिल रहे हैं. सबसे अच्छी मॉनिटरिंग वो होती है जो रियल टाइम डेटा आपको दे.
सही.
और बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, ध्वनि उनमें से एक है जिसका रिसेंटली हमारे साथ संपर्क रहा है. They've developed and other organizations also are developing very good AI tools. Dashboards are what they are
Yes.
called. And I think for me, in the next 3 or 5 years, this close monitoring will make the quality of the programs even better. NGOs will also use the same tools which
Yes.
the corporate is using.
Yes.
So they will know what corporates want.
Hmm.
And this free flow and exchange between corporates and the NGOs will help the better monitoring of these projects. एक तो ये सेकंड जो ट्रेंड मुझे लग रहा है जो और भी ज़्यादा इसमें मजबूत हो जाएगा वो ये है जिसको हम पहले इवैल्यूएशन कहते थे अब वो सोशल इम्पैक्ट असेसमेंट
Yes.
है ना तो सोशल इम्पैक्ट असेसमेंट ऑफ कोर्स एमसीए ने कहा है कि 1 करोड़ से जो बड़े हैं प्रोजेक्ट्स उसमें ये थर्ड पार्टी असेसमेंट इज रिक्वायर्ड इन दोज डेज वी यूज्ड टू कॉल इट ऑब्जेक्टिव इवैल्यूएशन
Yes.
नाउ इट्स थर्ड पार्टी इवैल्यूएशन which is good. But something that I'm working on now is that there is no standard method of evaluation. So अलग अलग कंपनीज अलग अलग ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को देते हैं कि हमारी प्रोजेक्ट को आप इवेलुएट कर लो या सोशल इम्पैक्ट असेसमेंट करा के हमें रिपोर्ट दो ठीक है ना तो एशियन पेंट्स ने कुछ किया कोका कोला ने कुछ किया जो भी है अलग अलग कंपनीज कर रही जब ये रिपोर्ट्स आप देखोगे तो अलग अलग टाइप के ही हैं वो रिपोर्ट
सारे
किसी की सैम्पलिंग इस तरह है किसी का रैंडम है किसी का स्ट्रैटिफाइड है अलग अलग स्टैटिस्टिकल टूल्स लोग यूज़ कर रहे हैं कंक्लूजन जो वो ड्रॉ करें उसी प्रोजेक्ट को अगर मैं किसी और इवैल्यूएटर को देता उसका अलग सा रिपोर्ट बनता
एब्सोल्युटली
तो जैसे हमने बाकी चीज़ों में एक स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन हम ला चुके हैं तो क्या सोशल इम्पैक्ट असेसमेंट में हम नहीं ला सकते
ला सकते हैं
इसकी एक बहुत ज़रूरत है तो इस पर मैं थोड़ा काम शुरू कर रहा हूँ एमसीए से भी मेरी बात हो रही है आई थिंक अल्टीमेटली अगर हम इम्पैक्ट असेसमेंट्स को कंपेयर ही ना कर पाएँ तो कैसे पता चलेगा कि ये अच्छा प्रोजेक्ट है वो ये नहीं है
आजकल जो कॉर्पोरेट्स कर रही है मोर देन पॉपुलेशन कम्युनिटी और ऑन ग्राउंड असेसमेंट से वो फाइनेंशियल बहुत करती है जब आप आई मीन दे लुक एट द एम्फेसिस मैं बोलूँगा कि आपके ऑडिट रिपोर्ट्स आपके फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्ट्स वहाँ पे एक्सेसिवली स्ट्रॉन्ग है एंड जब ग्राउंड पे आए तो शायद कोई आए और देखे उनको फोटो दिया तो बहुत हो गया
अनफॉर्चुनेटली ये ट्रेंड आप ठीक कह रहे हो कारण क्या है
लैक ऑफ मैन पावर टाइम
ना वो तो है ही है ऑडिटिंग ऑडिटर क्या करता है ही हार्डली गेट्स अ चांस टू विजिट द प्रोजेक्ट्स
ट्रू
एंड फाइंड आउट व्हाट्स गोइंग ऑन वो क्या आता है ऑफिस में जाकर जो ऑडिट टीम बैठती है वो क्या मांगती यूसीज ले आओ रजिस्टर ले आओ रिपोर्ट्स ले आओ रिटर्न्स ले आओ खर्चा किया पैसे तो कैसे खर्चा किया सो मोस्ट ऑफ द ऑडिटिंग ट्रेंड इज अ फाइनेंशियल ट्रेंड
करेक्ट
what do we need more non-financial and one of the good things I wanted to tell you was this is absolutely correct what you are saying so how do we improve it by looking at the totality of the picture
yes
only the financial picture is a small part of the entire project
true
so now ICAI has come out with guidelines for non-financial auditing
oh
yeah and they are saying that if you want to assess projects, when you assess CSR in particular, and I'll share that with you,
yes
there are guidelines issued by ICAI,
okay
which actually talks of non-financial auditing and how to go about it.
so this is very useful because though I know I travel I Google I do everything I consider myself sufficiently knowledgeable ये मुझे इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं थी एंड आई एम श्योर अगर ये मेरे पास नहीं है तो सैकड़ों के पास ये इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं पहुंची है ऑन ग्राउंड मतलब आज के जो आपके जो 3-4 मुद्दे अपने लाए बाहर विथ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग कन्विक्शन एंड वर्ड्स रॉन्ग ये गलत है तो आई थिंक अगर इसका हम कहीं तो आपके पॉडकास्ट में हम ये लिंक्स डाल सके तो ताकि लोग इसको डाउनलोड करके जो एक आम एनजीओ है जिनके पास ये सारे सुविधाएं नहीं है तो उनके पास एक कुछ तो फाउंडेशनल डिस्कशन पॉइंट हो जाएगा, निगोशिएशन पॉइंट होगा. So as the father, I want you to hold hands and continue us to walk, please.
No, it'll be so nice. It's important for us to get a total picture.
True.
Because in the end, what is it that we want to do in CSR? Tell me.
Change on ground with communities, people.
Marginalized, voiceless, poverty stricken. The whole idea was, what is it that corporates can do, spending such a small proportion of their profits in doing good for the larger community? That which is different from their basic self-interest alone. Can we excite in those hard-boiled individuals some desire to do good for that very community from which they are drawing their profits? Now, whether it's part of your business strategy, whether it's working with some of the important initiatives of the government, whether it is complementing or supplementing what the government is doing, but not duplicating it, whichever way you want to go about it, what is it that you must do? Start with the beneficiary in mind. Every single project that is passed in the CSR committee of the board, the reflection, the requirement is, who are we spending for? Who is that person? It's not about your auditors, it's not about your NGO selection, it's not about anything else. It's just about who do you have in mind and how do you get there. If you know the destination, you will work backwards. That is my message to the corporate boardroom and to the CSR committees.
So one question, do you think that 2% will increase to maybe 4 and 5%?
Look, just me, I don't want to fall into that trap. We've had a hard enough time doing 2%. And by the way,
Yeah.
even with 2%, we began with about, say, 8,000 companies. And the budget was around 10,000 crores. Look what's happened now. 36,000 crores is the budget of smaller departments of the union government.
Yes.
So it's almost like a sector of the economy.
Yes.
And I wanted to say that there are two important things here. And you would know that far better than me. For the simple reason that so many people are today looking at CSR as part of their livelihood.
Very true.
People are earning their lives from CSR because they know that it is legislated and will not die.
Yes.
ESG may come today and go tomorrow. But because this legislation has stayed for 10 years, it will continue to grow, right? The current SDGs finish in 2030.
Yes.
I anticipate, this is just a projection, that we will hit the 50,000 crore mark by the time the SDGs end.
Okay.
That's a bold prediction.
Yes, yes.
But imagine then how many people are actually benefited outside purely communities because of CSR.
Yes.
Second, look at the amount of professionalization. Think, Jasmeer. Today, a CSR individual in a company considers himself or herself as a CSR professional.
Yes.
So there's an HR professional, there's a finance professional, there's an X professional, Y professional. Who are you?
CSR professional.
And we say it with pride.
Yes, very much.
Because now we can stand up and say, this is who we are.
Yeah.
And the growth path in the CSR vertical of companies is now so well defined. You know that if you join as a fresher in the CSR department, there's no limit to what you can grow to.
So true. But also the fact is, Masters in Social Work today has gained a lot of students because they're realizing there's a proper profession which was not earlier seen as a profession.
Exactly.
So parents are now okay with children doing masters in social work.
Exactly.
नहीं तो तुम क्या ये झोला और चप्पल पहन के घूमने वाले हो, क्या कमाओगे, क्या परिवार होगा आपका? I don't see your future. You do an MBA, you become a doctor, engineer. ये सब चलता था. But I see that. Plus also the number of colleges that have sprung up. Prominent colleges have started this as a whole section, I think, thanks to you.
And the MBA programs
Yes.
have now been revised to include
Yes.
all of this.
Yes. And the MBA student has to now intern.
Exactly. Exactly.
Was it your doing?
No, it wasn't my doing. It was my doing in a secondary sense. That, see, by creating impact,
Yes.
you create also ripples. And this is the ripple effect. Throw a stone in the pond and you see how beautifully the ripples grow.
तो जैसे आपने कहा कि actually employment हुई है because of CSR, companies, NGO workers, ये जो skills के program है, livelihood के program है, thanks to CSR के जो arms है section के 7 के, it is gaining people to gain some kind of an employment somewhere which was not there earlier.
Absolutely.
Sir, there are two communities. I was with another speaker yesterday. There are two communities that are absolutely not served by majority corporates. One is women in sex work. उनको कोई हाथ नहीं लगाता है. And second is the LGBTQI community. And a very small percentage of people, very, very tiny percentage are working in HIV. Any reason for the corporates to shy away from this?
I'm so glad you asked this question. It has not been prioritized in boardrooms at all. It's an area of serious neglect.
Yes.
It is covered under CSR, gender equality. See, the whole concept of gender equality is about women. And you don't talk more about that. But all of this movement across the globe on the LGBT community is now the required essence of what we must do. I'm not saying that all of your funds on, women and children or on this thing must be allocated to this. But even if a small proportion were, it would give them so much dignity.
Yes.
What are they asking for? One word. Dignity. Give me dignity. Give me recognition. I exist as a human being as much as you do. Give me that recognition. That's all I'm asking. And even if you say that it is about awareness creation, even that I don't mind. But give me at least something. And I do appreciate that NGOs such as yours actually work on this area. And I would only appeal through this podcast that these areas are something that the boardrooms of corporates need to listen to. Maybe this is a message I'm sending out. That at least do something in this area.
Say, is it because there is this whole taboo to their multi-million brands that they don't want to associate? Is that the mindset?
No.
Or they're not aware at all?
They're mostly, it doesn't come into the imagination. When they're looking at CSR, there are education, it's the standard pattern of flow. But if you look at the globe, across the planet, the recognition of these communities is now at the highest ever.
Yes.
Legislations have come, even in India.
In India, yes.
And India is one of the most progressive nations on earth.
Yeah.
So, given that, I share optimism with you.
Okay.
I share optimism with you that even though in the normal course of thinking that hasn't come about, but there is now a space and a recognition and an understanding that these needs to be addressed.
Because what is happening, the international MNCs have something called diversity and inclusivity.
Correct.
So they're trying to cover that within that to a very, very, very small percentage. Another area which is not touched under health is mental health. Because the
Yeah, yeah.
word, minute you see mental, you are seen as a idiot or a crackpot or something of that sort. But I think for all of us today, even stress is mental health, which we all do for maybe half an hour a day. When you're traveling, oh my God, I'm late, I have to reach there. So that's stress. So why are we not corporates coming forward on mental health also? Under health.
Jasmeer, recently you would have seen, I think last 2 years, a major change. It actually began from the big four audit firms. So whether it's KPMG, Deloitte, I won't name all of them, say the big four, the big six. And they were entry level executives who were committing suicide.
Yes.
And that's where the conversation really started, last 2 or 3 years. And they wrote very frankly about their experiences. And so, as I work with I advise on some of these bigger multinationals. I do see a trend, particularly in their HR departments, to understand where exactly are they going wrong vis-a-vis their employees. Can it be that you are a 24-hour employee of this company? I can just take hold of your life and literally squeeze the lifeblood out of you. That was the attitude.
Yeah.
Now the boss is being held responsible for creating the anxiety. And this is to the credit of Gen Z that they are fighting back.
Yes.
And they know that if there is a complaint about their boss on this to the senior leadership, the boss will be held accountable. Now, I'm seeing this, Jasmeer, in many of the companies that I work with. There is a lot of consciousness among superiors to talk to their juniors and ask them that I asked you to do this. And it's part of the mindset that I wanted 3 days work to be done in 3 hours. Are you feeling stressed? Are you worried? Are you concerned? Share with me. Don't tell me before it's too late. And feel free to have these conversations. So, even in their weekly meetings or otherwise, bosses and employees are talking more about this in the open. Now, this point you talked about, if you're a mental health person, ये क्या यार पागल इंसान है
Yeah,
यहाँ क्या
इसको
घूम रहा है ये
कहाँ?
क्या कर रहा है सो एक जो वो था ना sort of a stigma that is slowly now, I think, an understanding has come about that if a person is suffering from anxiety stress, whatever kind of stress, that person can be healed if the
Yes.
person tells us and I'm willing to listen.
Yes.
पहले क्या होता था I told you stress हो गया तेरे को क्यों
Yeah.
क्या वजह है हर आदमी कर रहा है तेरे को क्या प्रॉब्लम
चल 2 पेग पीते निकल
है
जाएगा.
exactly.
Yeah, that was the whole attitude.
So that is correctly being, I think, addressed. It hasn't, percolated everywhere, but it needs to. And somewhere you begin to understand that, once you begin a process, you discuss it, then other companies also, and other workplaces, I would just say companies, other workplaces will also develop an understanding.
Sir, I also have been, please correct me, I have been told that the DNI budget is CSR budget. Whereas I see that very differently, and it is a budget that has to come out from the HR or from the company for DNI activities or whatever projects or seminars, workshops that they want to do. So, is that true?
No, you're right. Mostly it's HR. Look,
Yeah.
let's understand that. But because in Schedule 7, we have health,
Yes.
we have gender
Yes.
equality, I think it gives corporates even more flexibility. If there are some issues which the HR budget cannot adequately address, they can also use CSR to supplement what they're doing in HR. So I think this is a great help and an
Okay.
assistance.
So this is a very positive thing for you.
Very positive.
Okay. Okay. Because normally that is the conversation that comes out, So that's where I wanted you to clarify this.
Sure.
Yes, this is acceptable and this can happen.
Yeah.
Sir, two messages. Strong, solid. One for the corporates, how they should be for the next 5 years. And one, of course, for us NGOs, how we should be for the next 5 years. Because you are like a father holding one hand of the corporates and one hand of the child. So now you need to make us walk together and make us run. So please help us.
Trust you to put me in a spot.
No, never. Never, ever.
Message to corporates.
Yeah.
Are we going to do more of the same, or are we going to look at innovation? Now, there are lots of things happening out there in the world, and particularly now in the ESG, in the environment space, in the integration between CSR and ESG, there are very many exciting possibilities. Can we tap into that? Can we have more conversations with people in the field? Can you open your mind to the fact that this is done, and of course we will continue to do some of it or large part of it. But can we spend a part of that 2% now in doing something innovative, something different, something that will make my company stand out and which I'll be proud to say that, I innovated for this. So I'm looking more at for corporates to step out of their comfort zones and try and contribute to the CSR world and make it more exciting, more different, more innovative. For NGOs, the more you understand the corporate mindset, the more, some of the onus of how we operate with corporates lies on us also. We may blame the corporates for whatever they are doing, and surely they are doing what they're doing. But for NGOs also to professionalize ourselves, to understand the business strategy of the company, their priorities, their vision, their mission, what do they want to accomplish, what does their leadership really want, and to try and build synergies with them. And I think also to think long term. One project is fair enough, but once we have a project, can we do it in such a way that we connect with the ethos of that company, understand it, build bridges, and in the future projects that they have in mind, can we do the thinking collectively? That conversation, if we buy into, we'll get much greater understanding and a greater connect with corporates.
So I'm sorry, but I just wanted to end it, but there's one critical question that just popped in my head. There are a lot of corporates who fund businesses directly under CSR. Is that legally allowed?
No, you can't fund businesses. As you know, there are only three ways that money can be spent. One, of course, is by themselves. And the other two are either a society or a trust.
Trust.
Or a Section
Foundation.
8 company.
Yeah.
There is no other way. And what we have not allowed in the CSR thing is to fund anything that is profit making. So social enterprises, I actually wanted them to have that space. But somehow the thinking was that CSR is not about profits.
Yes.
So you cannot fund any profitable company. That's why Section 8 companies are basically non-profit companies. All you can do in CSR is fund non-profits.
And if they fund, then what is it?
If they do, then the rule is that whatever is the profit, it must be plowed back into that project.
By the receiving organization, profit-making
For
company.
example, I am funding, let's say, a toilet complex, and I've given it to an NGO to run it. And the NGO is charging, let us say, 2 rupees per use. Right? At the end of the year, they earn, say, 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs from it. How will they show that 2 or 3 lakhs? Neither as a profit to the company, nor as a profit to the NGO.
Yeah.
They will have to plow it back into the maintenance of that toilet.
Very true.
Complex.
Very true, because that is where the sustainability of such a project would come through.
Exactly.
But what happens when a corporate gives it to a profit-making company?
No, that's not permitted under the law. And they can't show it as CSR.
Huh, but it is shown in the reports.
Well, if it is shown, then it is wrong.
Wrong,
It's
right?
for the auditor to point it out.
Huh, okay. Sounds good. Happy that you have clarified because this was no, sir. I'm sorry. I'm not putting you in a spot.
No.
It's just that
Pleasure.
there's so much misconception around,
Of course.
and believe me, sir, a lot of NGOs do not have the wherewithals to attend seminars or conferences.
Sure.
Nor, I don't think there is time available to have a conversation that you detailed out today. So I think this is going to be a stepping stone for all of us, the corporates and the NGOs, and most important, I now would like to end it by my grateful, heartfelt. I'm at loss of words, but I hope I'm expressing myself enough to tell you such a big thank you for taking your time out from your busy schedule and being here and blessing us with your wisdom. Thank you.
Jasmeer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jasmeer. It's
Dr.
wonderful
Saab,
to connect.
thank you. Yes, thank you.
Reconnect and stay connected.
Absolutely. I'm not leaving you now. I want to stick on to your,
Thank you.
how do you call that? Coattails.
Thank you, Jasmeer. All the very best.
Thank you, sir. I hope you people have learned and heard from Dr. Saab. I mean, this is a walking, talking library or a book of, he's not even a book.
Encyclopedia.
He's an encyclopedia. Thank you for helping me. He's an encyclopedia. And what we managed to get from his is only, I think, 1%. So if you ever meet him anywhere, grab him and ask him. He's open for conversations. I know that for a fact because I'm associated with him since 2013. And it's been a wonderful journey. He keeps forgetting me, but I keep reminding him. So guys, thank you so much. We look forward for you to join us in the next episode. And once again, thank you, Dr. Saab, for being here. Thank you
Pleasure is
so
all
much.
mine. Thank you.